Podcast today. I am so excited. Today is a very special day, and we've been celebrating all day all the winners in our lives, the Inc. 5000 community, all the company winners who are serving their communities and doing great things. And today I really wanted to have Amanda Cryer on because she is just an incredible human being who's making a difference in so many people's lives. And you think about it, my podcast is all about having a mind of a champion and overcoming the impossible. And you know someone and kind of what they're going through, but when they go through something hard in their life and they can kind of come up with energy that's so positive and so giving, they are winning. So Amanda, thank you so much for being here today and celebrating all the wins. And we'll talk about your wins at some point through the podcast, but thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. And first, I just want to say congratulations to you and your organization and your team for being in the Inc. 5000 organizations. That's a huge, that's gigantic. Congratulations.
Thank you, Amanda. I appreciate that. It takes an entire community, as you know, and people working together and partners. Paul Gunn, who's a mutual friend of ours, people that care about each other to really lift everyone up so that they're winners. So thank you so much. I appreciate that. Do you want to introduce yourself to everyone and really share your passions, your LinkedIn? If you haven't seen it, it's beautiful. But I want you to kind of state in your own words.
Okay, thank you. My name is Amanda. My dream and my passion in life is to empower others who are change makers to make huge differences in the world, or even small differences in areas that matter to them. And that's what lights me up, and that's what gets me out of bed every day.
I love that. And you're doing so much to promote that. And, I think that there's so much darkness today. One of the reasons I started my podcast is because I had a truck driver come to me, Amanda, and tell me he had lost hope and he didn't really know how he was going to go forward. And I think a lot of people are struggling, and we know this based on the Surgeon General report, right? That 1 in 4 adults are lonely or feeling lonely. And you just exude so much positive energy. And so I want you, like, maybe to share with those who are listening who may be struggling or who may, have a moment that they're dealing with, that they're feeling not a lot of hope. So can you share with everyone maybe a hurdle or roadblock that you have or had, or maybe someone that you know that maybe stood in the way of your passion?
Yes. So you're seeing me today on a mild symptom day. So, you won't normally see me on social media when I'm having a severe symptom day. So I live with chronic conditions. And so those conditions on any given day can range from mild to severe symptoms. And I want anyone out there to know that no matter what kind of day you're having, whether it's a good day or a bad day, that you belong. I think belonging is something that gets really lost. And I think that in this world, when we aren't born into a family that necessarily has a lot of money, or born with perfect health, or we struggle with our health, maybe we have certain life circumstances that didn't allow us to go to college or university, anything like that. My message to the world is that it's okay. You do belong. You absolutely belong, and you don't have to be ashamed. And you are so loved. You are loved. I love you. And I just want you to know that you're not alone, and that you're seen and you are heard. And I know everybody says that. I know that's like a big thing these days. Everyone see you, we hear you. And I think that's a really important thing to just keep saying over and over again, because it is true, and it's gotten me through days where I haven't felt seen or understood or even accepted. Since actually developing these chronic conditions 7.5 years ago, I lost my sense of belonging. I no longer really felt like I did belong. And so I recognize even more now. Yeah, I mean, there were times throughout my life where I was bullied and things like that, where I didn't feel like I belonged as well. But
Mhm.
when I became ill, that really kind of it robbed me of something that I didn't think was ever really possible. And that was really feeling that I belonged still, even in society, because I couldn't keep up with, healthy, high functioning individuals like I used to be.
Mhm.
So my message is to just know that you do still belong, even if some days you have to stay in bed, and it's okay. Even one of my friends is 95% bedridden. All she can do is get up and go to the
Mhm.
restroom, and she belongs as much as I do, as much as you do, as much as anyone does.
I love that. I love that message. So how do you, like, you talk about your friend and you talk about you, and how do you, when you don't feel like you belong, how do you find that within you to fulfill that, to make you feel whole so that you do feel like you belong?
So I couple things. I get in touch with people that believe in me, because sometimes I lose there's instances where I lose belief in myself, because
Mhm.
sometimes the physical symptoms that I live with, which contribute to mental and emotional symptoms, of course, that's natural. Everything's it's all connected.
Mhm.
Um, I get in touch with people who believe in me and they remind me of who I am. I mean, Paul is one of those people.
Mhm.
Sometimes I wrote this really long article, which I've never published, but maybe at some point I will, and maybe I'll break it up into a bunch of different small articles. But something I wrote in there was that, each day that I wake up and I see the sun coming through my curtains, I have blackout curtains, but when I open the curtains, um, I think to myself, am I going to have a little bit of reprieve today? Or is today going to be like yesterday? Am I
Mhm.
going to experience symptoms where I have a hard time getting around, where I have to walk with a cane? Or am I going to have a more mild to moderate day where I don't maybe have to use the cane? So I always have those questions are always in my mind as soon as I wake up. I always wonder what kind of day it's going to be, symptomatic wise. But even when I ask those questions,
Mhm.
I still manage to cultivate gratitude for the things that I do have, and that's like just like simple things like I have a roof over my head. I've got food in my fridge. And I know these things may seem so trivial, but to me, like the fact that I'm able to take a shower is a big deal for me. And, not a lot of people think that taking a shower is a difficult task. But for me, it's extremely difficult. So,
Mhm.
but on a day that I can shower and I can take care of myself and need less help from others, is a day where I feel really proud of myself. And I'm like, wow, that was a really good day. Today I took a shower. I made my bed today. I mean, I mean, that's huge for me.
Yes.
Yeah, I walked with no cane. I mean, last night I went for a walk on a treadmill for 20 minutes with no cane,
Wow.
and I walked for 20 minutes, and that's like a really big deal. So, all these things I think I used to take for granted, I don't take for granted anymore. These things are very important, and they're very vital to me being able to cultivate a real sense of gratitude, but also a real sense of feeling like I belong to society, because I can still participate in things, maybe not to the extent that I used to, but I can still participate.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're interested in publishing your article, if Tim Sorn is listening, and I will tag him, but he's writing a book. I'm a contributing author to it. It's going to be published in November, but it's on invisible illnesses. And the entire book is about sharing your story on living with an invisible illness, and how that, maybe is misunderstood, or how that just brings about gratitude in your life in so many ways for things that somebody may not experience when you've reached that darkest point in your life. So if you do, and you don't have to commit on this podcast, it just came up, but I can talk to you offline. It is a book that he is doing, and he's dealing with the exact same, not exact, but he's struggling in some of the similar ways you just described. So we all know Tim belongs, and certainly that is something that he's working on and committed to, because of how people live. Like, you could appear, someone looks at you, and they think like you have it together, and you're living this great life and you have so much more than me. And when in reality, you know that you are digging deep to find that gratitude every day. So just know that that is an opportunity. But I love that you wrote the story, and if you don't share it, and it's something you can hold on to. So congratulations for that. Um, what inspires you every day to be happy? Is it, something like you said, like getting up and walking the treadmill? And how do those moments help you continue to move forward and grow every day?
Actually, I'm not really inspired to walk the treadmill. That's not what inspires me. I'm not inspired to do that. I'm inspired to see the water. I love the ocean, but
Mhm.
besides like the personal things like that, I get a lot of peace when I'm around water. I What inspires me most is are people who get moved by things that okay. What inspires me is that when during the pandemic, I created a YouTube channel just for fun. And
Mhm.
I started receiving messages from people saying that they were going through a really rough time mentally and they didn't know how to deal with that. And all these messages started coming in from people all over the world, and I had no idea that was ever going to happen. It was just something I was doing to help my own self feel better about living with a condition, but also to potentially see if I could support others and what they were dealing with too. And I know that a lot of people during the pandemic, especially people who weren't already living with chronic conditions, were really isolated because they couldn't go out and do the regular things that they were doing. And so for a lot of people, I was already used to being isolated, living with these conditions. Other people were not at all. And so it was
Mhm.
very, very difficult for many people. What really inspires me, Gina, was people reaching out to me and saying, I watched this video and your laugh made me laugh. And when you were crying about Godzilla and King Kong fighting, I was crying. And some people gave me a hard time about that. They were like, why would you cry about King Kong and Godzilla fighting? The whole point is that they're going to fight. And I'm like, well, because I don't want either of these guys to get hurt. I love them both. For me, it
I
wasn't about,
love that.
it was about like humanity trying to pit these two creatures against each other. And I was like, how could you do
Oh.
this? Like, these guys are innocents on their own. And so but I had people reaching out to me, and the people that weren't, giving me a hard time about the way I was reacting to that movie, they were saying, God, I felt the same way. And, what you said made me feel like it was okay to feel that way. That's what inspired me, was receiving messages like that, knowing that I could add some kind of value to someone
Mhm.
given the state that I'm in. And so
Mhm.
knowing that I can add value to someone and that someone else will allow me to contribute to their
Mhm.
lives. That's a big thing. Actually, I had a really
Mhm.
great talk with my one of my closest girlfriends, who's she's quite well known on LinkedIn actually, and she's become a very, very good friend of mine. And I said to her,
Mhm.
it doesn't take a lot of courage to give. Like,
Mhm.
giving is easy,
Mhm.
but it takes
Mhm.
so much courage to receive.
Mhm.
It takes a certain level of vulnerability to actually receive help, receive support from others. It doesn't take any
Mhm.
vulnerability to give. I mean, everybody
Right.
wants to, it makes everyone look good.
Right.
For us to actually receive or ask for help is a huge
Mhm.
thing. So whenever somebody comes to me and says, Amanda, can I get your help? Can you help me with this? What do you think
Mm.
about this? That really, really inspires me, because that person trusts me enough to not first of all let them down,
Mhm.
not support them, and then maybe throw it in their face later when I want to make them feel bad about it, not
Mhm.
guilt trip them or anything like that. There's my Alexa going off, sorry.
That's
So that's what really inspires me, is all of those things. But I would say, I know that was a lot, Gina, I just answered, but I would say the most thing I get inspired by is when people actually have enough courage to reach out and ask for help, ask for support, because my gosh, I know how hard that is, and
Mm.
so I get inspired by people who reach out to me and ask those things. I'm inspired by them because I'm just like, wow, the amount of courage and vulnerability it took you to reach out to me and ask that. is gigantic. So can I just give you a bow right now and just say thank you, because thank you for allowing me to contribute to your life.
That's beautiful. I love that. Because you're right. How many people like to share things they do because it makes them look good, but to ask someone for help should be shining and winning just as bright. So if you're out there listening tonight and you need someone, you can reach out to Amanda or myself, and or reach out to someone you love. Ask for help. There's a lot of people out there. Tim Sorn is out there. There's Paul Gunn is out there. There's so many people. Anne Breen is out there. So many people that just want to help, and
Rachel,
we'll be there.
Rachel Beck is out there.
Oh, shout out to Rachel too. I love that. Amanda, what do you think? Was there like a turning point for you? Like something that you learned that really changed your perspective? Was it something that left such an impact on you for these feelings that you have? Was it a person that did something, or something you read, or was it just something you, from going through the illness and going through your struggles, you learned? Can you remember specifically? Was there a turning point for you?
Yeah, it's a couple different things. I also want to give a shout out to Nora Ogbachman, who is like my sister, and she's on LinkedIn, and she's probably one of the reasons why I survived COVID last year. I almost died of COVID last year. I mean, I really did. It was
Wow.
a near fatal case. Um, she's also someone to reach out to as well. So just wanted to say that. Thank you, Gina.
I love that. And I love the music that started playing. It's like a sign of beauty, you know?
I'm so sorry. That's my Alexa. It just started playing by itself, and I love this song, but it's
Yes, it's good. We leave it. It's perfect.
okay. Um, yeah, there was a turning point in my life in around 2008, and it was before I had developed these conditions. But something happened to me. I moved to New York, and I started working with my mentor, one of my mentors. I have many. One of my mentors, she is a former director of capacity and leadership development at the United Nations. And I think for a lot of my life, actually, I didn't know that I had the ability to really make a difference. And I know I've said
Mhm.
this before in other things that I've written, but I really didn't believe in myself. And I
Mm.
didn't believe that I could make the difference that was needed in anybody's life, not even my own, really. And even though I always knew what I wanted to do with my life, I was never one of those people who didn't know what I wanted to do. I always knew what I wanted to do from a very young age, but I didn't think I could do it, and I didn't think I could make a difference. And
Oh.
she really taught me that I had the innate ability to make that difference. And I mean, it brainwashed me in the best way possible, because I've never lost that. Now it's like,
Mhm.
even on those days when I might, where my belief in myself that I have any value to add may kind of
Mhm.
dull, I know to pick up the phone, call or text someone like Paul, like Rachel, like Nora, like Ambreen, like anybody in my life, like Tara Trantham as well. And now you too, Gina.
Now me. I was gonna say you can put my, yeah.
One of my best friends, Bria, too, and my friend Tony. It's like being able to reach out to people that remind me of who I am. But this started in 2008 with my mentor, who she really got me present to that. I do have the ability to make a difference, and I do add value. And when I really, really got that, like on a deep, deep level, I started realizing that I could also support others and recognizing that in themselves.
Oh.
That is what changed everything for me. And it became more powerful when I came down with these conditions, these chronic conditions. But for me, that it's weird. It's like I don't like living with chronic conditions, because it is extremely difficult, and you really don't have anything if you don't. I don't think people realize how great they have it until you lose your health. Like
Mm.
I come from a modest, background. I was born and raised in Canada, and my family comes from a very modest background in Ireland. But money is one thing, but health is like everything. And
Mm.
because if you have your health, you can go and you can make money. But if you don't have your health, you literally do not have anything. Like you,
Mm.
because you don't how do you generate the physical wherewithal to be able to go and make money? I mean, I was in my bed for almost 8 months after that near fatal case of COVID last year, working from my bed every day.
Mm.
I'm sitting in a chair right now, and I'm lucky to be out of my bed in this chair. Um, this is another thing that happens to me too. I get brain fog. What was your question? I'm so sorry. This is
No, you were totally fine. You answered it beautifully about kind of like what was there a time that something that you learned and you talked about your mentor that kind of helped you move forward in your thinking and it was beautiful. It
yeah.
was beautiful. So thank you. What's winning like to you?
What does winning look like?
Yeah, like if I said, how would you define winning? Today's the day of winning. Like you're winning, you're here. I am like you are here and there's just so much beauty to that. And like you said, yeah, and I just think about what winning is like. So what is it like for you?
Winning to me wakes up in the morning at a good hour, at a reasonable hour, waking up, and the vertigo, dizziness, and severe balance issues and the vision changes aren't bad. And I'm able to
Mhm.
get up, I'm able to make my bed, I'm able to take a shower, I'm able to clean the house. I'm able to have several Zoom calls with people in my life that I love. I'm able to have phone calls, work calls, generate things. I'm able to be there for others, whoever needs me, people that I love, people that I don't know, strangers. And then I'm able to go to bed at night and have good dreams and not nightmares. That to me is winning.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And I love the fact that you have the courage, like you said, you have the courage. I mean, you have the courage to ask for help. You have the courage to reach out to people and you're not afraid. And I think that is completely beautiful. So thank you for doing that and just being connected, and just all your goodness and everything. So now I know kind of how you probably will answer it after this, but if someone's out there listening right now and we're talking to you and you've lost hope and you feel like you don't have the passion for living or life or learning, Amanda, what recommendation would you give to that person that's listening that's struggling, aside from maybe have courage and ask for help, right? Because that's kind of the first step.
It is, but also know that I love you and know that you are loved by many, even if you don't feel that way. Because you really
Mm.
are. Even if you don't feel it, you are. And there's lots of love around you. And just look around you, take a moment, take a beat, and also know that whatever you're feeling in this moment right now, that it will get better. Things do get better. They really, really do. And I know, sorry,
You're fine. You're fine.
I've had a lot of people in my life give up.
Mm.
And I wish I hadn't. And you don't have to give up because we're fighting. And I've had a lot of people, when I felt like giving up, remind me that it's worth fighting for, and it is. So just don't give up. And my recommendation and my advice is that don't give up. Reach out to Gina, reach out to me, reach out to anyone that we mentioned on this call. My friend Pete on LinkedIn, my friend Rob on LinkedIn. There are so many people who are willing to support, and there's just so many people out there that are willing to support you, and you are loved, and we love you. And so just keep fighting, don't give up, and reach out to any of us, please.
I love that. Thank you so much. What a beautiful, beautiful, authentic, pure, and true message. We all know and have been touched, by difficult times in our lives. And everyone is here to help and to be together and to be connected. So Amanda, if somebody leave us with some lasting words, some loving words, and if somebody wants to reach out to you, what's the best way to connect with you?
Uh, Not LinkedIn. And not not Instagram. I don't check my DMs that often, and I just find it's a little bit overwhelming,
Mm,
the messages, and there's a lot of spam too, and so I don't really know, sorting through all that is I find a little bit challenging. Um, I would say the best way to reach out to me is through my email,
mhm.
and my email can be found on LinkedIn. That's the best way.
Got it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Lead us off into the night, Amanda. So, everyone on my podcast has some really positive and amazing words from you as we say goodbye tonight.
I love you, Gina.
I love you too. Thank you so much for coming on. And I'm so glad that Paul connected us. And thank you everyone for listening. I will be back with Michael Foci here, who was a doctor during COVID. And I hope you don't miss this conversation. So we'll see you in a little bit.
Thank you so much for everyone for watching and hanging out with us.